Hi everyone, this is a follow-up video to the earlier video that I released. I know there are people out here that watched my first video and said, "Oh, this could happen to any child. This what you're saying is going on could happen in any religion, a Methodist church, in a Catholic church, an Episcopalian church." Yes, you're right. Molestation can happen in any of those places. The difference is those organizations don't try to take your spirit, your mind, and who you are. You just go there, you learn, you meet people, you go home, and you're allowed to have your life. You're allowed to be yourself. You're allowed to have your own thoughts. You don't have just one direction that you can take with everyone else. Sheep through this door, goats through the other. You don't have that. It is not that way. It is not you sitting there every Sunday knowing that any dream that you have, you can't have it. It's not you not being yourself. You can still have friends at school. You can still interact with other people. And the good thing is that if you are interested in sharing your faith with someone, you can. And it's at your discretion. And for those people who don't believe in God, then you have the opportunity to not believe in God. You can send your kid to the YMCA or have them play soccer or do something else that you don't want them to do religious if that's your choice. But that's the thing. This religion takes away your choices. It takes away your choices as a child. It robs your spirit. It takes away your possibilities. So not only was I molested and raped by several people as a child during that time frame between 3 and about 6, but the entire time while I was there, my life was being stolen, my spirit was being raped, and I was being dissolved as a person. The other thing that I didn't mention is that right around 5 or 6 years old is when I decided to stop eating. I ate very rarely, and I'm sure that played into the whole situation of me being sick because I couldn't fight off diseases because I refused to eat. My refusal of eating was my way of trying to disappear because I hated the fact of where I was and I hated what I was going through. That's the way that it played out. It played out for me in so many different ways. It played out of me becoming anorexic. I remember writing in a journal once I got out of high school. I think I weighed about 103 pounds. And just so you know, I'm about 5'5". So 103 pounds is not how much I should have weighed. But I wrote in a journal that I needed to lose 50 pounds, that I was too fat. I just wanted to disappear. I was trying to slowly kill myself because I would rather do that than be a part of what they had to offer for me. Like I told you, there are many things that I've had to suffer and still trying to deal with to this day. You know, you listen to some of us other people who've been in it since they're kids. They have all types of things, that they don't feel good enough, that they don't measure up because they call for you to be this perfect person all the time. Be exactly like you're supposed to be in Jehovah's Clean organization. Yeah, you criticize people like the Catholic Church for baptizing children as babies. But the reason why they baptize children is because of the fact that they're really looking out for them. That's why they do it. It's a way for them to start off their lives and expose them to their choice of religion. And as they get older, they try to encourage them in that. But at the end of the day, it's the child's choice on what they're going to do. And as they get older, they get confirmed, or maybe they move away from the church and they do something totally different. But when they move away from the church, they still have their families. They still have their friends. They still have their connections. You don't have that with Jehovah's Witnesses. You lose all of that. You know at any time that if you don't toe the line and believe what you're supposed to believe and do the right answers and underline the paragraphs and raise your hands and say enough comments. I remember my parents wanted me to do so many comments or at least get called on. And I would feel so bad if I raised my hand and I turned to my mom and say, I raised my hand, he just didn't call on me. It was an enormous amount of stress to fit into the mold. Do not do this to your kids. If you do recall, for those who are religious or do read the Bible, it said in Genesis that God allowed man at that point to have free will. If God allowed us to have free will, why can't we allow our children to have that? And I don't mean free will in the sense that they can do whatever they want to, but free will in the sense that they can have thoughts and ideas and dreams and imagine and think and grow. Don't become a Jehovah's Witness if you have a kid. And if you're in, try your best to get out. Because this is the thing that you have to think about, those of you that are trying to get out. Your children are going to have post-traumatic stress disorder when they leave, regardless if they've ever been molested, because of the mind control, because of what they've been taught. They're going to have to deal with that. That's going to affect them. So regardless, at the least, at the minimum, they're going to have some issues that maybe can be sorted out. That may not last forever, but for quite some time, maybe. If they've been in at least, if they've been in where they can understand, and even when you're little, it starts early with these people. So I can't say how long, how much damage your child has suffered, but they're suffering right now. And the sad part is you signed them up for this. They didn't ask for this. They didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for this. To this day, my father, who isn't a witness, when I tell him about this, I can tell his spirit just drops, because he knows what he exposed us to. And if you care about your kids, it's painful to know that you expose your kid to something like this, and that, years from now, they're going to have to spend several $1,000s in therapy and continue to be in therapy to the day that they die, pretty much, just so that they can try to carve out some existence and have some happiness. That's what's out there for them. Like I said, as a parent, you're gonna make mistakes. Everything isn't gonna be perfect. I know that. Maybe you may say something that hurts your child's feeling, and they may not forget that when they grow up. And that's something they may be able to get over. But utter mind control and squashing their dreams and fears and their opportunities is something totally different. Totally different. Do you want that for your kid? Maybe in a later video, I'll be even more honest and tell you some more things about me. So maybe it'll drive the point home on why you shouldn't join this organization if you have children. You shouldn't join it at all, period. But definitely if you have kids, don't bring them into this. Alright, you guys, that's my follow-up. Have a good night or morning, depending on where you are.